The main thing that I find that's really odd in this whole thing, out of everything, and y'all should probably know this too, is that how was Borland even granted an affordable bond in the first place, and a bond if anything, because you have a double homicide murder on you that you being charged for, and you were the one that brought the bodies to the hospital with this story that don't match up evidently to any evidence that's out there that's been presented as far as the case. None whatsoever. So my thing is, how do you take Melly and hold him for all this time and don't grant him any bond? And he wasn't even the one that was with you that brought the bodies to the hospital. You drove from the scene to the hospital with these bodies, with this story. Melly wasn't even with you. Now, even though the evidence is pointing that where he was sitting at in the car, and allegedly from where the, well, not even allegedly, according to the evidence that of the gunshot trajectory, all the evidence does point to him according to where he was sitting. Now, they say that he got out the car, but my thing is, why hold one and not hold the other? Now, y'all can call this what y'all want to call it. Now, call it what you want to call it. I'm just saying, shit's weird and odd to me. It's weird and odd. You know, you got guys that's out there that done caught weed charges, other drug charges. I'm talking about this dudes that got 10, that done got caught with 10, 15, 20 bricks and ain't got a $90,000 bond. And you know you paying 10% on that. That's extremely different. So Borland was back in court this week, and you had the state prosecutors basically trying to have a forced hearing, trial hearing for him during the YNW Melly trial. Now note that they are separately charged, and the trial date set for Borland was initially set for October. So you had his lawyer up there basically saying, you know, hey judge, don't you think that we kind of up schedule on this? You know, the initial hearing was set for a later date, later in the year, and this trial is going on. And the fact that they were trying to do that while the Melly trial is going on, I found that very odd and weird. You know, and while they was up there, you know, his lawyer was basically begging and pleading for him too. You know, he was like, hey, I done spoken with my client's probation officer. He's in good standing. He just want to be able to travel and get off of the leg monitor to go to work and go to church. And I'm saying to myself, I'm like, who in the hell gonna hire you? The dollar store ain't even gonna hire you, nigga. Like, you have a pending double homicide murder on your record right now. Who the hell gonna hire you? Unless you finna go make some music. And then what really get me is, like, these boys really go and make these crazy lyrics and songs and the stuff that they be talking about in their lyrics and stuff like that, man, about how hard and gangster and what y'all be doing and all this hardcore stuff. But the white man get on y'all ass and y'all begging to go to church, or y'all find a God all of a sudden. You know, it really tickles me, bro. It really tickles me. So the state is asking the judge to object his motion to be granted mobility due to his pretrial conditions of violation. So he didn't violate it not once but twice, his pretrial conditions. And pretrial conditions, and they vary, you know, it's different pertaining to, you know, how heavy your case is. You know, it's different state to state, city to city, you know, county to county, parish to parish. Louisiana, we got parishes. So with these pretrial conditions, they'll basically, it's kind of like being on probation without going to court or trial and signing the terms and conditions. This is before you do all that. So they'll make you go through this and go to court or trial, and if you go to court and you plead guilty, it's basically like you on the same thing all over again. And before you doing this, while you on these pretrial conditions, you gonna pay too. You gonna pay for your analysis, and you gonna pay to go see your PO that they assign you to. That's the real pocket gouger of that whole situation. So he was found violating them conditions. So, you know, the judge looking at it like, you know, how does it look to have a man that's charged with a double homicide murder out here roaming the streets doing the things that he doing. They finding him in the strip club, because remember, he got the ankle leg monitor on him. He in the strip club, you are at shows, you traveling, you cross the eastern seaboard, doing what you want to do, doing your thing, you heard me? Doing what you want to do, you know. And the judge instantly shot that down. The other judge probably would have revoked his bail and sent him back to jail. Now he's skating on thin ice still, because the judge can still order him to go back to jail until his court hearing. You feel what I'm saying? Due to his violations. You know, if he violate again especially, you know, he's definitely gonna be going. You know, his bond was only $90,000. That ain't nothing. That ain't nothing. You know? So like I said before, y'all, Borland is gonna end up testifying and getting on that stand. And he gonna testify against Melly. He gonna be forced to, unless he wanna do that time behind his homeboy. It's one of the two. Because you best believe Jason Williams is gonna defend his client like he is paid to do. His job is to get Melly off. He not defending Borland. He don't care about Borland. His job is to get Melly off of this case. And he is gonna point the finger at him. And when he do and put the blame on him, he either gonna have to point the finger back at Melly and get on that stand, or he just gonna sit there and take the rap and lay down. One of the two. Or blame somebody else and bring somebody else in the equation. You know, that's the only way I can really see it. I'm gonna read some of the comments that I thought was interesting, some of the statements that y'all made and said about the whole case. So Brian Sick 9531, he says, if they had any sense, they could have said that they were returning fire and they accidentally shot the person on the side that they were shooting. And I said, that's what I predicted before the evidence came out. I thought the same thing. I thought they was a part of drive-by shooting, and maybe Melly and the dude in the front, they was the only ones who had guns, and they was getting shot at, and they was returning fire, and then when they returned fire, they accidentally hit their friend shooting from across the seat. You know, that's kind of normal, and you know, it's what would have kind of actually would have been, you know, played out and actually, you know, made some sense. But it don't match up with the gunfire trajectory evidence coming from the inside of the car. It don't. Like I said, you can say what you want to say, but if the evidence don't match up, you're in trouble, bro. Arguing with one of my classmates, and he from Florida too. Yesterday, pulled up on him. He was like, man, I'm telling you, bro. He was like, bro, Melly gonna walk free. He gonna walk free. He's like, bro, they both gonna get off. I'm like, bro, it's no way I can see either one of them possibly walking free. Ain't nobody gonna walk free. Maybe one, but not both of them. Melly could possibly be acquitted. Maybe. He was like, man, I'm telling you, bro, no gun, no case. No gun, no case. I'm like, yeah, bro, I totally get it. I get it. I understand. And a lot of y'all are saying that too. I get it. But you gotta look at the other evidence that's leading up to it. The cell phone data puts him there. The cameras from the studio puts him getting in the car. You got YNW Juvie. His mother then got on the stand and pointed and said, yes, that's him getting in the backseat of that car on the camera leaving the studio. You got traffic cameras showing them traveling on the I-95 South, going, you know, on the highway, all this stuff traveling, y'all going together. You got two people in the same car on the same cell phone plan and with the same cell phone company. So all of this data is moving in the same direction. And y'all pull up in this recycling spot at 4 in the morning where there's nobody at, and this allegedly had taken place. You know, now they say, like he say, man, they say Melly got out the car. I'm like, yeah, he got out the car, but his cell phone data is still tracking him going 3 meters away from where he got out at, allegedly from where the scene was or where it's supposed to happen. So you got to take all this into accountability. Like, a lot of people is totally want to make this cell phone evidence oblivious. Like, I just don't get it. I don't understand how y'all just want to just look past this cell phone evidence. Like, bro, trust me, I got a cousin that did 5 years on this cell phone data stuff, and this was way back in 2012 when I was a sophomore in high school. Let me tell y'all this just for a second. So my cousin, he lived in San Diego. He was working for this hotel at the time, doing really good for himself, man. He's a polo model, doing a lot of different modeling for a lot of different high-end companies, as well as working for the hotel. I believe he was the manager of the hotel. So if I'm getting the story right, he was in the process of moving, and he was off this day. He was moving to a different area of the city, I'm not really sure where, and he ended up getting pulled over. And when he got pulled over, the police was saying that he matched the descriptions of an alleged robber in the area of the time, and you know, the car as well. I'm not sure about, probably not the plates, but the car, everything matching description. Him and all this different stuff. Supposed to be a tall guy, tattoos. And my cousin, he tall, light skin, tattooed. So, you know, they looking through his stuff, and like I say, he moving. So he got his clothes and all his stuff in the car. So he's saying as they looking through his clothes and stuff, they find, you know, clothes that allegedly that the robber of the hotel had been wearing. And apparently the hotel was the one that he had been working at, or one of the ones of the franchise that he managed. So they looking through his stuff, and they find, you know, baseball gloves and, you know, sweaters and pants, you know, stuff that matched the description of the person. You know, he telling me like, you know, hey man, I'm just moving, you know, I'm only, you know, I got this stuff in here because this all my stuff, I'm moving, you know what I'm saying? So he didn't do this crime, and you know, he did 5 years for that because the cell phone data was putting him in the area of where the vicinity of the crime. So that's what I'm saying. This cell phone data is concrete, whether you want to make it or not. It is what it is. It's the same thing with the Alec Murdaugh case. Alec Murdaugh was saying that he wasn't there, and somebody came on the property and murdered his wife and son. But his cell phone data showed that he was there, taking steps, doing circles, all kind of shit, when the times of when his family was murdered. And they gave him 2 life sentences for that. That's what I'm saying. You can say what you want, there ain't no evidence, there ain't no any of this and none of that, but the information, the evidence is putting you there of this crime. And the trajectory of the gunshots is coming from your direction, all of them. So unless you come up with some kind of alibi stating of where you was at this time, and on top of that, you allegedly, you got, not even allegedly, this is an evidence that's being presented. And by the way, the cell phone data evidence is being combated by Jason Williams, which is Melly's lawyer, that the evidence being presented wasn't witnessed to be authenticated for it to be presented to have that verification. You feel what I'm saying? There wasn't a extra witness there to verify that this would be authenticated for it to be presented to the court. So he arguing to take that cell phone evidence out, and he better hope they do. So like I say, you can say what you want to say, man, but it's hardcore concrete evidence to this cell phone data, man. It is. It just is. You know, whether they find a gun or not, I mean, find that they, you know, he was actually the shooter or not, you know, pulling the trigger, that's just for them that they're gonna have to solve. But I'm not ruling out that there isn't something that they can stand on.